Brief questions, Part 2. What is the relationship between Tess and Sorrow? ANS. Tess is the mother of Sorrow. So, there is mother-son relationship between them. Why does Tess write a letter to Angel Claire before the marriage ceremony? ANS. Tess writes a confessional letter to Angel, telling him of the past and slips it under his door. Where do the Bennets live? ANS. The Bennets live in the village of Longbourn, lying about a mile outside the small country town of Meryton. Why was Sorrow named so? ANS. Sorrow is named so to represent the aftermath of Tess's sin. Who is Mrs. Bennet? ANS. Mrs. Bennet is the match-making mother of 5 marriageable daughters. Why did John give Jane a blow? ANS. He gave her a blow, and said that this was her punishment for speaking in an insolent manner to his mother and for her habit of hiding herself behind the curtains. Why is Jane imprisoned in the Red Room? ANS. Jane fights John like a wild cat. She scratches and bites him. He screams. As a result, Mrs. Reed sends Jane to be locked in the Red Room. How does Jane save Rochester's life? ANS. Jane saves Rochester's life by dousing his bed with water, and Mr. Rochester takes her hand and thanks her for saving his life. What are heirlooms? ANS. Heirlooms are the jewels or ornaments which is passed from generation to generation in an aristocratic family. Who runs Lowood School in the novel Jane Eyre? ANS. Mr. Brocklehurst runs Lowood School. Who symbolizes pride in the novel Pride and Prejudice? Which class does Mr. Collins represent? ANS. Mr. Collins represents the working class. Who was Tess' father? ANS. Jack D'Urberville was the father of Tess. Who was the natural father of Tess' child? ANS. Alec d'Urbervilles was the natural father of Tess' child. Who was Mr. Rochester's first wife? ANS. Bertha was Mr. Rochester's first wife. Who was Madame Defarge in the novel A Tale of Two Cities? ANS. Madame Defarge was the wife of Ernest Defarge. She was a cruel, embittered and vengeful woman. What is Meryton? ANS. Meryton is the name of a town in the county of Hertfordshire. How old is Lydia? ANS. Lydia is 15 years old. Who is Gaspard? ANS. Gaspard is the father of the child run over by the Marquis's carriage. Who is Gable? ANS. He is the tax collector, postmaster and caretaker of the chateau. Who is Barsad? ANS. John Barsad is Miss Prost's brother. Who kills the Marquis? ANS. Gaspard kills Marquis. Who is Selene? ANS. Selene are the gods of the forest who are usually drunk. What is Saint Antoine? ANS. It is the suburb of Paris where the Defarges live. Its residents are extremely poor and it is hotbed and central point of revolutionary activity. Who is the Jackal? ANS. Sidney Carton is the Jackal. Who is Miss Miller? ANS. She is one of the teachers at Lowood School. Why does the Paris mob kill Fallon? ANS. Because she is an arrogant and aristocratic. What happened to Helen Burns at last? ANS. Helen Barnes died of consumption at last. Who is Boz? ANS. Boz was Dickens' pseudonym. Who is the owner of Thornfield? ANS. Mr. Rochester is the owner of Thornfield. Who is Lydia? ANS. Lydia Bennet is the youngest daughter of the Bennets. What is the name of the house of Mr. Reed? ANS. Gateshead Hall. What is the significance of Madame Defarge's knitting in A Tale of Two Cities? ANS. Her knitting is symbolic of maintaining register of the names of people who are to be punished for oppressing the masses. What was the original title of the novel Pride and Prejudice? ANS. First Impressions. What is the name of the bank mentioned in A Tale of Two Cities? ANS. Tellson's Bank. Who is Parson Tringham? ANS. He is a clergyman in Marlet. How old is Jane? ANS. 22. What is the pseudonym name of Charlotte Bronte? ANS. Curl Bell. Where is the village of Marlet situated? ANS. The village of Marlet is situated in the beautiful Vale of Blackmore in Wessex. What was the original title of Jane Eyre? ANS. Jane Eyre was originally published